July 1943, two massive armies face each other across a bulge of land. The goal is simple. One side wants to pinch the bulge. The other will not let it happen. The result is the largest tank battle in history. This is Kursk. The stage is set. After Stalingrad, Germany is weakened. Hitler seeks a strategic victory. He hopes to regain the initiative in the east. The plan is Operation Citadel. It aims to cut off a Soviet salient around the city of Kursk, pinch from north and south, destroy Soviet reserves in the center. The Soviets know it is coming. Intelligence works. Spies and reconnaissance spot German preparations. The Red Army does not wait. They build defenses, a deep belt of minefields, anti-tank ditches, trenches, and concrete bunkers. Multiple defensive belts, layers and layers. Every kilometer is prepared. Both sides gather men and metal. Thousands of tanks, thousands of guns, air forces poised above. The Germans assemble their best formations. New tanks, new tactics. The Tigers and Panthers. The Soviets' mass reserves. They plan counterblows. They prepare to absorb the initial shock, then to strike back. On July 5th, the offensive begins. German artillery opens the attack. Panzers roll forward. Mines explode beneath tracks. Anti-tank fire scythes into armor. The fighting is brutal and immediate. Villages become killing grounds. Fields turn into graveyards for steel. The northern and southern pincers advance. They achieve local successes. They carve gaps. But Soviet defenses hold in depth. Every breach costs hours. Every hour allows reserves to move. Soviet artillery and anti-tank guns are relentless. German units suffer attrition they did not expect. The number of tanks engaged overwhelms any previous battle. Armored clashes erupt at Kursk's salient flanks. Massive tank engagements occur at Prokhorovka and elsewhere. The air war rages above. Dogfights and ground attack sorties shape the battlefield. Supply columns burn under attack. Fuel and ammunition become precious. Tactical choices matter. German commanders debate pauses and thrusts. Hitler insists on aggressive moves. He fears delay. The Soviets execute their plan. They trade space for time. They let the enemy bite into prepared positions. Then they counterattack with fresh forces. The Prokhorovka clash becomes emblematic. Hundreds of tanks meet in a single day. Steel collides with steel. Cannon fire shakes the earth. Losses mount on both sides. Tactics are costly. Armor duels at close range favor numbers and logistics as much as technology. As days pass, German momentum slows. Coups, anti-tank defenses, and continuous counterattacks blunt the spearheads. The Wehrmacht cannot sustain a long, grinding assault. The offensive consumes men and materiel. Fuel stocks dwindle. Mechanical breakdowns pile up. Repair crews work around the clock. Replacement tanks arrive too slowly. The Soviets now shift from defense to offense. Reserves pour in. T-30 for units, fresh and numerous, hit the German flanks. Soviet artillery pounds supply points and staging areas. The Red Army's operational depth begins to tell. Where German thrusts once threatened a breakthrough, Soviet counters now force withdrawals. The air component is decisive. Soviet fighters contest the skies. Ground attack aircraft hammer columns. The Luftwaffe cannot dominate as it did earlier in the war. Attrition takes its toll. Pilot losses and fuel shortages bite into capability. By mid-July, the Germans call off the southern offensive. A week later, with fewer options and mounting losses, the northern pincer is also halted. The ambitious plan to cut the salient has failed. Operation Citadel ends without the strategic victory Hitler sought. The consequences are clear. Kursk marks the end of major German offensive operations on the Eastern Front. After Kursk, the strategic initiative permanently shifts to the Soviets. The Red Army will progressively push west. Germany must adopt defensive postures more and more. But Kursk is more than a strategic turning point. It is proof of industrial might and planning. Soviet defenses demonstrate an ability to integrate intelligence, engineering, and operational art. The battle highlights the effectiveness of massed armor when supported by logistics and reserves. It shows that prepared defense, combined with counterattack, can blunt even an elite foe. The human cost is immense. Thousands die in days. Men fight in burning tanks and cratered fields. Medical services are overwhelmed. Prisoners suffer. Civilian lives are shattered. Towns and villages are destroyed. The scale of suffering is hard to measure. Technically, Kursk is a testing ground. New tanks and weapons are first used in scale. Combined arms tactics evolve rapidly. Anti-tank guns, mine warfare, and air-ground coordination become central doctrines. Lessons learned here will shape subsequent operations on both sides. Strategically, the failure of Citadel accelerates other crises for Germany. The Mediterranean and African fronts demand attention. Allied pressure in the West grows. Material shortages and manpower limits bite deeper. The Eastern Front becomes a slow, grinding attrition war that favors the side with greater reserves and production. For the Soviets, the victory at Kursk builds confidence. It validates the shift toward offensive operations. Their commanders gain operational experience. Their industrial base continues to churn out tanks and aircraft in vast numbers. Momentum builds for the great spring and summer offensives that will come, but questions linger. Could Germany have succeeded with different timing? Could a quicker, more concentrated thrust have worked before Soviet defenses hardened? These counterfactuals are tempting. Yet, the facts stand. Kursk halted German offensive hopes. It set the stage for a Soviet advance that would not stop until Berlin. The legacy of Kursk is complex. It is a tale of industrial scale, tactical innovation, and monumental sacrifice. It is the moment when the balance tips further. It is where massive armored warfare reached its fullest expression. Kursk ends the offensive age for Germany. But the road to Berlin is still long. In the next script, we will follow the Soviet summer offensive that shatters Army Group Center. We will track Operation Bagration, its scale, its speed, and how it redefined the collapse of the Eastern Front. Stay tuned.